of those
Excitement.
bubbles on held notes, things like that. So where you've got where melody's doing something and the harmony parts are just holding a chord, let it have musicality to it. That kind of
Go out and tell our story. Let it echo far and wide. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. How justice was our battle, and our justice was denied. Make them hear you. Make them hear you.
That last "make them hear you" was where we the most felt like here we are all together. Yeah, but I agree. Here, listening back, the oohs at the beginning in particular need to have more orchestration to them behind what Alan's doing. And there's not a ton of like big contrasting phrasing in your part, and there shouldn't be. I think you're going to harmony, but I think we can have a little bit more of that life in the oohs. There might be, especially like going into transitions, there might be some bubbles so that you give it that forward motion to that next phrase.
Feels like the tuning's a bit better though than last night.
Yes.
And kind of the onset.
Totally, yeah. So, sorry, on that, once you're set and you breathe, the character's changing, can that call to arms feeling happen with each other first? Essentially, you're like calling each other in, and then once you're at the microphone, it's now for us, but it's all that same feeling. It's all happening right from as you're starting to walk in off the pitch.
Go out and tell our story. Let it echo far and wide. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. How justice was our battle, and our justice was denied. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And say to those who blame us for the way we choose to fight, that sometimes there are battles that are more than black or white. And I could not put down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear you.
There's a good example of the make them hear you, where we can more into, make them hear you. Yes, make them hear you. Right now it just feels like we're singing echoes to sing echoes.
Okay.
A little bit. Felt like everything else before that was a lot more connected. Connecting earlier helps us as an audience not get confused, because there's a lot more of a pleasant look to start before, then we got to the microphone and then it went. And it was kind of like, wait, alright, it's not what I was expecting. What's happening? Whereas
U-Haul truck coming out the street.
Good. And then the one spot on those oohs, I think that second phrase, that then can be just a little bit more of that motion. Can we start just literally right from where you took the melody at the beginning?
Go out and tell our story, let it echo far and wide, make them hear you, make them hear you, how justice was our battle.
Yeah, you feel a bit of that?
Yeah.
If I might direct you a little bit on
Please.
that, because I think it's really close, and that first just open fifth can just stay there, but then as it gets to the end of that line, right before the chord opens up, we want to just give it the wave a little bit, and then make them hear you, and then we're into quartet mode from there.
There's a delicious little fermata too that I don't think had been there before.
Yeah.
Before the next one, it was such a great.
Go out and tell our story, let it echo far and wide, make them hear you, make them hear you, how justice was our battle, and our justice was denied, make them hear you, make them hear you, and say to those who blame us for the way we choose to fight, that sometimes there are battles that are more than black or white, and I could not put down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear, make them hear you. Oh, my path may lead to heaven or hell, and God may say what's best, but one thing He will never say is that I went quietly to my rest. No, never to my rest. Go out and tell our story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you. And tell them in our struggle we were not the only ones. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then my brothers then will justice be demanded.
Cool, right there. Those, everything up till there felt so different. Really nice. I've got a comment there, but do you want to comment on stuff before that?
I'll just go with it. You're gonna talk about then, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing. I think what you're gonna say. So.
Yeah, because so a little bit of that bubble before you come in that we worked on last night, I think is going to help with that. And then from the My Brothers, then it just kind of feels like we stop, we take a break, and then we're kind of coming back in. We've got to feel like we're going to that unison, and it's a building on top of. So we get the first chord, we kind of bubble a bit, and then we build up with the My Brothers, then, and that's the end of the stack. But it's not the end of the stack. The breath into the unison is the actual end of the stack, right? So if we can feel like it's continuing over that breath, and as we're going through the my brothers, then you're really thinking about then, because you're saying my brothers, then what? Then, bah, right? So connecting that thought process over the breath is going to be a huge help to getting us over that hump. Can we get into that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then, my brothers, then will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men.
It feels a whole lot more connected already.
So this appears to be the pivot point in the song. When we get this, then that's when change happens. That's when change happens. That then belongs to that next phrase and the next thought. So we get that carryover. Then this is going to happen. And if we have a little bit more of that,
Kind of foreshadowing.
yeah, by damn it, that's what is going. That last then, we get a little bit more emphatic on it from just a then. We will know that we said it would happen, the changes happened, and we'll know it because of this. But that then really just loves that next phrase because something's changed, and it's because of something we did and something we fought for. The rest of the song.
So as you get to the my brothers, then you're already saying, then this is going to happen. So already being in that next phrase well before it.
Sure.
Message was.
Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then, my brothers, then will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men. Let them hear you when they hear you. I'll be near you.
Stay in the message.
Go out and tell our story, sing it far and wide, and let them know your song will never end. Let them hear you once again.
That was a barbershop tag.
Yeah, it got progressively more barbershop, more tag mode. It was really the last three chords in particular.
Yeah, physically and everything else. There may be some savings that we can do a little bit earlier. I think that my brain is hearing timpani drums, and that this is truly the end of an anthem. If we turn it too barbershoppy, it's just like a less satisfying end to a song. So I think that we lost the message in favor of volume, and then it shut the bodies down. And it's a matter of degree. You weren't sure to shut down. But can we just add a little bit more to each of those by starting a little bit less, but making sure that the bodies are getting more emphatic? Because we should want to we should want to go do whatever battle you're calling us to do when we're done with this. And not thinking about what a great chord that was. So, reconnect with the message.
There. Start.
Okay. You got from yours.
Again, go out and tell our story, sing it far and wide, and let them know your song will never end. Make them hear again.
It's better. It's a whole lot
Yeah.
better. Yep.
Let's go with better.
Not, there's a rigidity that's coming in.
Yeah.
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 So there's two, like, and part of it, I think, for example, what you're going for is that confidence, but the confidence is coming with like a stuckness.
Well, and I do get stuck. And I'm like, well, now where do I go? Maybe I'm getting there too early, or I'm not coming back down, or
Yeah. And
that's what I'm
yeah,
trying
so
to
there's
think
a-
of right now. Is like, okay, I'm getting up here. Once again.
Yep, move your feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's even there's room for just like a confident shuffle and just like whatever it might be, but some movement.
Yeah.
Where we're just kind of getting in that like, here I am, yeah, right.
And mentally, I recognized it as soon as I hit. I was like, well.
But now what?
Yeah,
I got a pretty good singing position. Nat, I have a very unfair question of you.
Okay.
Can you make the tag taking that breath somewhere a little earlier in the phrase?
Sure, I can try.
Are you taking it after never?
Yeah.
Can you take it before never and just see? Because right now that's what's calling it, that's what's making it very taggy.
Yeah, let's try it.
Your choice on whatever the notes are there, but that spot, that choice that you just made vocally was.
I felt good about
very
it.
Yeah,
nice
I
one.
just did.
Yeah, that was the best. It was a little too much pressure all the previous times.
Yep.
It went a bit too far. That really fit into the message. It was just as present,
Yep.
but also felt really confident and in control.
I think some of those slight changes earlier on led to that confidence in the sound.
Try it again.
Yep.
Again, go out and tell our story, sing it far and wide, and let them know your song will never end. Make them hear once again.
You might play with that.
Yeah, I'll mess around with that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, great job. Just keeping emotion in. It made sense. You were moving just to move, but it made sense and allowed it not to feel like I'm in tag mode now.
We could do something, 3-part cover. We'll never end.
Never. So you're on N, so it would be a duet. Or he nevers with you and then re-nevers.
You guys know what I mean? We want to try that.
We do the
I
same
know what
thing,
you're saying, yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
And then you take a rest somewhere and never run somewhere by himself, right?
Would that feel barbershoppy?
Not necessarily.
Not if the second never
So-
is
So
different.
we'll hold the now vote.
Well, right, and it's like, yeah. Never end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's try that from your post.
Again, go out and tell our stories, sing it far and wide, and let them know your song will never end. Make them hear you
Yeah, as long as you, as long as you have emphatic gesture, on the way that you just did that and answered that.
Never.
Never end.
Yeah.
Get yourself in that way. Yeah.
Never end.
Then it won't seem barbershoppy.
Okay.
I think musically that works really well.
Yeah.
And it gives you that plenty of time to get a
It,
good
it
breath.
puts some counter rhythm in there too, which gives it even more forward motion, which
Yep.
is kind of, everything is the same rhythm, and then counter rhythm and
But
drives-
isn't forward motion barbershoppy?
nice.
It's really just motion.
Just-
When we talk about forward motion, we really should just talk about motion.
Can we get just a slightly modified gesture at the end? Right now, sometimes it's just kind of there. You could, because this is kind of that out there in the future type of thing. Can be more of a reaching than a lifting. It's like,
Like palm down.
I could see it out there, and just play with that a little bit.
Okay.
Well, one of the reasons for that too is that when Alan's coming in at the beginning, that's the type of searching that he's doing. But he's not doing big gesture, but he's on the horizon, he's out there, right? So if we can clearly see it, then we can reach for it, and it won't look quite as barbershoppy.
Okay.
So, just experiment. There's no perfect way to do it right now. So.
Yeah, I like that change, if you guys are on board with that.
I like that a lot.
I could try just not taking a breath at all, but that's probably not a safe word.
works, and I think- And it doesn't feel like you're doing it so that you can have a breath. It
Right.
feels like it makes musical
Yeah,
sense.
totally.
And message sense.
It's not a subtract, it's an add.
That eliding from the verb to the end that time didn't have that kind of hitch, that gets you there. I know if I do this hitch, my voice is gonna be right there. That one seemed to have a nice.
And then harmony parts on the meh, now that we've done it and you know where it is, just make sure that we're singing it really confidently, like that is, you're saying never, right?
Mike, you made a comment after our first run that there's some spots when we're singing all together, more homophonically, right, that it just feels a little bit quarter note. I feel like the work that we put in last night on that line, and I could not put down my sword, where we were finding those kind of stress words, and you guys were really kind of filtering that through me. I feel like that is really effective. So I think some work that we can do is just kind of everything leading up before that, just solidify the exact intention behind each of those lines.
It's so this last full performance before we started cut the last big part, it was significantly better just by attention. It's like, let's not fall into this.
Yeah.
If we're done telling our story, then we should be done with the song. So each thing has to have a different import to it.
And the first run through, like from the beginning when I start How Justice, the first run through I wasn't doing a good job pushing each line forward with motion. So I think part of that, and the first one was my fault, whereas the next couple of runs I was really trying to do it, and I think that helped a lot.
And the Harmony Singers too, were adding that life that we were asking for, you know, to kind of inform the phrase a little bit better, and it was just a significantly richer experience, I think, it's the right direction.
I feel like Drew, a lot of this kind of wave singing that I think it's absolutely fantastic. I just worry that we're kind of always getting louder and not coming back. I just know like my tendencies and the tendencies of the quartet.
Right.
I personally think it sounds and feels great.
Yeah.
I think if we had Ziegler in here, I think he would say, "No, that's too much," and you're not wrong. He's not wrong.
I think your point is exactly in the right spot where you're doing the growth correctly. It's where the relief happens that we need to actually make sure we're getting the relief.
Yeah.
What is the line that most mentions the children?
Teach every child to raise his voice, and then my brothers, then.
And just before that is the pulpit, the classroom.
Proclaim it
Yeah.
from the
It's
pulpit.
that every child is basically the thesis of the song. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then justice will be
Yeah,
done.
what my brain wanted to do doesn't work with the lyric because, you know, teach every child to raise his voice. It's hard to do that with sincere intimacy, or just turn on its ear and really go intimate on that. Just looking for places, though they have to make sense.
But I think that is one where you've got proclaim it from the pulpit, the classroom and the pen, right?
And then it can come down
Yeah,
there.
teach every child to raise his voice. Not to slow it down like we did the other spot, but it's got that teach every child to, and then raise his voice, even though you're saying the words raise their voice, whatever it is. Is it his voice, their voice?
Raise
his voice.
Yeah, his voice. It still can be very focused and intimate with intensity. And
We
we've
played
got
with that,
lots
we
of
haven't
room to
gone
grow.
all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. And then that first then is super intense but super intimate. And then it gets more emphatic as it grows out of it. Then my brothers then we'll justice, right. Can we try getting into that and try in that spot?
Sure.
Proclaiming, I guess. Right from proclaiming.
Famous spot.
Do we need to get out of here soon, or what?
Yeah, like 5 minutes. Start cleaning up.
The other thing that you're doing well now is you are doing a little bit of push and pull into the thing and making those words special and such, and it's like just love it.
Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then my
So can
brothers.
it come down even more than that?
Yeah.
Okay. And really think about the destination being every child to raise his voice, and then my brothers. It's almost a secret, except it's not, but it's like it's got that tight intensity, and then it grows and grows and grows and opens up from there.
Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then my brothers, then.
Totally the right direction. The other thing that I add is there is a shift in message at and then.
Yeah.
Right? Teach every child to raise his voice, and then once that happens, everything changes. Right? And so we've got to see the shift right just before you say, and then my brothers then.
Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise his voice, and then my brothers then will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men. Let them hear you when they hear you. I'll be near you. Go out and tell our story, sing it far and wide, and let them know your song will never end. Make them hear you once again.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of great
Yeah.
choices.
We won't necessarily.
Shake it here.
Be careful for the Zig High.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
Little
foot shift,
a little your preferred singing posture, a little bit more, we're getting, could we go just a little bit more over the front from more of a searching, it's out there, so.
More palm down, maybe, too?
This- it got a little Highlish.
A little Highlish. New adjective for the day. Awesome, well, great work, you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot
We
more connection.
should probably clean up on audio. We have a guest checking in,
Excellent.
3 p.m. check-in time.
Sweet.
So,
There we go.
We're gonna switch venues, take a little break and switch, or,
we can do that.
What can I help with?
yeah.
All these cups, we can just kind of hand wash them and put them back in their spots.